Bulat Okudzhava's first record came out in Paris in 1968. I acquired it soon and became a great fan. I met him in 1976 in Moscow in the restaurant of the House of Cinema, where he came to have dinner with his closest friends, Bela Akhmadulina and Vasily Aksyonov. He was very excited because his most recent Soviet record had just come out, and Aksyonov convinced me to gift me one of these records, telling him that I'm a great fan from the old emigration. I brought the record home, listened to it all the time, and once when talking on the phone, against the background of Okudzhava, I suddenly heard Bulat singing in the receiver and asked my friend whether she heard anything on her end. She said, yes, it's one of your Russians singing. So I learned that my phone was bugged. Why? I don't know. Perhaps because I was traveling to the Soviet Union a lot in those years. In any case, whoever was taping me didn't get any secret info, but they heard Bulat Okudzhava singing. When Okudzhava had his concert in Berkeley, the one you are watching, he was a writer-in-residence or poet-in-residence at UC Irvine for a quarter, where he, of course, gave a concert, and which, of course, I attended, as I attended all of his conference while I was still in LA, and later when I moved to Berkeley in San Francisco. Needless to say, I was very excited to first meet him and then to get to know him better in Los Angeles. Once I took him to Venice Beach, LA's Carnival. He loved the beautiful beach, the many roller skaters doing tricks, the quite wonderful wall paintings, on one of which a celebrity, a local celebrity, Harry Perry, is seen on roller skates strumming his guitar. Harry Perry, wearing a turban and an exotic clothes, would regularly roller skate up and down the boardwalk singing songs. Bulat was lucky. Harry Perry was there. In the spring of '91, after an LA concert, Bulat was rushed to the hospital and had open heart surgery. His aorta, as it turned out, was almost completely blocked. But before the hospital would perform the surgery, they required a guarantee of $20,000. The total cost would be $40,000. So a well-known Russian dissident, Lev Kopelev, quickly arranged for such a guarantee from a German publisher that published Russian stuff. The rest was collected by Alexander Polovets, a close friend of Okudzhava's, an emigre. And he got that money from Russian emigres living in the United States. I tried to help him and even called Joan Baez, whom I didn't know, but I knew that she had met Okudzhava in Moscow and even sang one of his songs, which contains the lines, "Возьмемся за руки, друзья," a kind of equivalent of forgot it. Anyway, forget the equivalent. But she didn't give any money, claiming poverty, which surprised me. Shortly after that, but the main thing was that Bulat's surgery was successful. This was in the spring of '91. The fall of the Soviet Union, as you know, came in the fall or late August of the same year. I happened to be in Russia, or in the Soviet Union still, doing research. During that time, there were severe food shortages and shortages of other everyday goods. And I remember that Bulat Okudzhava asked me to buy him light bulbs at the foreign currency store because there were no light bulbs available in Moscow then. Bulat Okudzhava died in Paris in 1997. I happened to be there, and I happened to hear about it, hear the sad fact, in a Russian bookstore. Someone was telling someone else that there was to be a funeral mass for him in the Russian Orthodox Cathedral shortly. So I rushed to the cathedral, grabbed a taxi, and made it. I was on my way to Moscow at that time, and therefore also attended the funeral services for Bulat Okudzhava, first at the Union of Soviet Writers, which was the civic ceremony, then his burial at Vagankovo Cemetery. The lines that were waiting to get into the House of Writers were extraordinarily long. It seemed to me that all of Moscow wanted to pass by his open coffin. There were old people, or older people, who remembered his songs from the 60s and 70s, as well as a lot of young people who were still his fans today. By today, I mean 1997.